And everybody should be on page 48, okay? Seven dash 5. You have it, Evelyn? Sorry. All right, before we get to page 48, I want to talk about a few things, all right? There are 2 indicators that we are going to be covering, okay? And I have one listed up here. Understand that a percentage is a rate per 100, and use this to solve problems involving wholes, parts, and percentages, all right? We also have to be able to convert between fractions, decimals, and percentages, all right? Now, because this is the first time you've ever learned about percentages, we are going to start, and this is what our indicator says, you are only going to have denominators of 2, 5, 10, 20, 25, 50, okay? We're not going to do any hard denominators to convert the fraction to a decimal. All right, we're only going to use easy denominators to begin with. All right. Now I want to talk about, and you don't have to write this because I do have it on your sheet, but I want to talk about what these word parts mean. Now, some of you that have had Miss Wallace should be able to tell me what these word parts mean. So, what does per mean? What does the word part per mean? If I have 1 copy per student, what does that mean? For what? For every student, okay? I have 1 sucker per student. Who's getting a sucker? Each student, right? So each student is getting a sucker. So we've got for every, or we have each. And I'm just going to put a line there so it doesn't look like for every each, okay? Because that's kind of redundant, all right? Now, what does cent mean? And I'm not talking about S-C-E-N-T. I'm talking about C-E-N-T.
Oh, that means like one thousand? No, 100.
100. Okay, this is how I want you to think about this. How many cents are in a dollar?
4. I'm at 100.
100 cents. 1 penny, okay, is 1/100th of a dollar. And it takes 100 pennies to make a dollar, okay? So cent means 100. So if we're talking about per cent, we're talking about for every 100, all right? That's what we're going to be talking about. For every 100, or each 100, all right? Now, our symbol for percent looks like this. How many people have seen that symbol before? Everybody in here has seen it in core values, all right? Because we've had a number 1 question that's had percentages before. Now, if we look at this, we've got 1, 0, 0. So our percent sign makes the number 100, okay? So if that helps you remember that percent means per 100 or for every 100, use that, okay? Because if you're a word parts, if you're an ELA person and you like to dissect words, maybe this is how you can remember it. Or maybe You're a symbols type person, a math type person, and that's how you want to remember it. It doesn't matter as long as you remember it's per 100, okay? So, this is your sheet for today, and I want you to tape this on the right side. All right? Then we're going to go over this. Is Josh the only one we're missing today?
You put this on the right side.
What? What now? I'm not talking about that. I have no idea. Pardon me? Right, yes. All right, I'm gonna give you just one more minute to finish taping because I know you're passing your tape around your table. All right, now this whole entire unit that we've been talking about so far, we've been talking about what? Ratios. We've been writing ratios as a fraction, but we've been talking about ratios. So a percent is a ratio. Oh, that's gonna be too much. A ratio that compares a number to 100. So a percent is a ratio. We are comparing a number to 100. How many out of 100? Okay? So we're going to talk about writing a fraction as a percent and writing a decimal as a percent. And we can go back and forth, okay? So if we have a fraction and we want to write a fraction as a percent, what does my denominator need to be? 100. So can I get from 20 to 100?
Yes. Multiply by 5.
Pardon me?
Have we done something like this?
We have. Similar. So what do I multiply? 20 times what gives me 100?
5.
5. So 13 times 5 is
65.
65. Can I change 25 to 100?
Yes.
What can I multiply by?
4.
4. So what is 15 times 4?
60.
60. All right. Yes, ma'am. Is it on your, you can't see this part? Let's see. this one do?
No.
Where's that one?
All right, let me go up there. Is that better?
Yeah, that's it.
All right, we can go backwards, okay? We can have a percent that we write as a fraction. So let's say that I have 33%. So how do I write that as a fraction?
You move the decimal 2 places.
No, I'm not there yet. We're still at fraction.
33 underline.
Yes, good job, Alvon. Alvon said 33 underline 100. That's it. Okay. Can I reduce that fraction?
No.
No, I can't reduce that fraction. Okay. Let's try another one. What am I going to do?
40 underline 100.
40 underline 100. Can I reduce that fraction? Yes. What do I do? What's the first thing we can do?
40 divided by 4.
Take off a what?
0.
A 0. Now I have 4 tenths. What can I divide 4 and 10 by?
2.
2. So 4 divided by 2 is,
20.
no, 4.
2.
2.
2.
10 divided by 2 is 5. All right, pretty easy, right, Alvon? Now, decimals are even easier, okay? Because all we're going to do with the decimal, if you read the very first instruction, it says, move the decimal 2 places to the right. Write that number with a percent symbol at the back. So, here's my decimal. What does it tell me to do?
Move the decimal 2 places to the right.
Because I got 2 zeros in 100, I'm going to move it 2 places to the right, but I got an empty spot. What do I do?
0.
0. And what do I put at the back?
0%.
Percent. That's it, y'all. That's it.
It's like round.
60%. That's it. Now, what do I do to 36?
Move the decimal 2 places and then put 36 with that 1%.
2 places to the right and write 36. 36%. What do we do with the last one?
Move the decimal 2 places to the right and then put 65%.
60.
I've got to write this.
Oh, goodness.
70.
All right, let's say I have 75%. If we move the decimal 2 places to the right to change the decimal to a percent, what am I going to do this time?
Move it to the left.
Move it to the left. So I'm going to go 1, 2, and what's my decimal? 75 hundredths.
Oh,
Easy, right? Let's try another one. Let's try, give me a percent off the top of your head.
63.
63. 63%. What are we going to do?
Move to the left and it'll be
Move it to the left,
6,200.
and it's going to be 63 hundredths.
you need to give us a test on
I need to give you a test on this.
No. Everybody should get a
Because this is what?
Easy.
Easy peasy, lemon, squeezy, Hayden.
Can I go wash my hands? I just accidentally touched iron filings.
You what?
How do you walk in the
It's on
hall?
the end of this and I didn't notice. What? What's iron filing?
Go to the bathroom and wash your hands, and you and I are going to have a discussion.
What is iron?
Just stop. Just stop. Okay, now I have for the left side, because we are in this whole mentality of testing and process of elimination and trying to figure out what's the right answer, I decided to do our practice on the left today as some multiple choice questions, okay? And even if you wrote those 4 problems right there on the left, you will have room for this paper on the left, or you should.
From all I do in math test, I don't like it.
Sir?
I said, whenever I was doing the math test, I was doing the fucking yesterday in class. I mean, 'cause it was fun, it was just fun and yesterday.
I didn't know the kids leaving today. If they didn't finish before lunch, they couldn't leave. Oh, Miss Brooks.
If they didn't finish with the work,
If they didn't finish before lunch, they stayed with me till the end.
what happens if you finish?
Huh?
What happens if you finish?
What now?
What happens if I was finishing in 5 minutes?
I would be very shocked.
You said what?
It's distracting for people to get up and move around while other people are testing. That's very distracting. You do need a book to read for tomorrow. Who did I miss? Yes, sir. Did you go in Miss Morris's room? Go ahead, you're gonna miss this practice.
Isn't this like the same that we've been?
Hmm?
Isn't this the same that we've been?
No, we haven't done this before. All right, so the first one asks us, it says the shaded area on the grid represents the part of a rectangular wall that was wallpapered. Each small square on the wall has the same dimensions. What percentage of the wall was wallpapered? Well, the first thing we've got to do is we've got to figure out how many total squares there are here, okay? That means we're figuring out the area. So let's count across and down to see how many total squares we have. I want you to do that. All right, we have 10 across and we have 4 down. So we have a total of 40 squares. Yes, sir. We have a total of 40. So my 40 is going to go in the bottom of my fraction. Okay? Now, let's see how many total we have. Well, if we look here, 4 times 6 is what? 24. 25, 20, 26. Okay? All right. First thing I want you to think about. More than or less than half are shaded in.
Less than.
More than half. Because what's half of 40? 20. And we have 26. So our percentage must be more than half. Automatically, can we mark any off? Yes, what can we mark off? 35 and 40. Mark those off. Automatically, those are not options because both of those are less than half. Okay? Now, we know that in order to make this a percentage, we need our denominator to be what?
Not like
100. It's going to be hard to change 40 to 100, okay? So let's see if we can reduce this fraction. Cooper, what can I divide 26 and 40 by? 2. So 26 divided by 2 is what? 13. 40 divided by 2 is 20. Can I change 20 to 100?
Yeah.
Yes. What do I multiply by? 5. 13 times 5 is 65. So what percentage is wallpapered? 65. All right, let's try the next one. Which equation represents the shaded area of the grid below? What do we have to figure out first?
How many squares?
How many squares? I want you to figure out how many squares. Don't say it out loud. How many squares? 10 across and 10 down. So how many total squares are there? 100. How many squares are shaded? 4 columns. So 4 times 10 is what? 40. Is it easy to write this as a percent?
Yes.
What percent is that?
40.
40%. So let's look over here. Are there any that I can mark off because they don't have 40%? A and B. Both of those are wrong because neither has 40%. All right, so now what do I do to change 40% to a decimal? I'd move my percent sign, what? 2 places to the left.
And then it'll be 0.
4 40 hundredths or 4 tenths. Which one matches that? D. So C is wrong. The correct answer is D. All right, number 3 says, in which diagram does the shaded portion represent 50%? So 50% is what? Half. So you've got to count the spaces. The spaces need to be what? Can they be equal or not equal?
Equal.
They need to be equal. So I want you to figure out which one is half, 50%. All right, A, how many squares are shaded? 4. How many total squares are there? 16. Is 4 half of 16? Nope, mark it out. B, how many are shaded? 4. How many total? 8. Is 4 half of 8? Yes. So I'm going to leave that one right there for a second. I'm going to come back to it, okay? C, how many are shaded? 2. How many total? 3. Are they equal? Are the spaces equal for C? Yes. But is 2 half of 3? No. D. How many are shaded? 1. How many total? 2. Is 1 half of 2? Yes. But what's wrong with this one? It's what? It's not equal. These spaces are not equal. So this one cannot be it, okay? The best answer choice is B. Anytime you are taking an online assessment, okay? Anytime you are taking SC Ready, anytime you are taking MAP, please make sure that you use that tool that blocks out any answer choices that you know are incorrect, okay? Take time to do that because that is important because you don't want to accidentally click something that's not correct because you just made a mistake. Mark out the ones that you know without a doubt are wrong, okay? MAP and SC Ready both have the tool to block out answers, okay? Do everybody know what I'm talking about? All right, so